I want to thank each one of you and your organizations, excuse me. I were visiting our troops and they had pizza pie.
This is Joe Biden. On February 24th, 2022, the day that Russia began its invasion of Ukraine, Biden announced sanctions against Russia.
Today, I'm authorizing additional strong sanctions and new limitations on what can be exported to Russia. This is going to impose severe cost on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time.
16 paranoia-filled days later.
No one expected the sanctions to prevent anything from happening.
The sanctions are designed in the first instance to try to deter Russia from taking further aggression, from engaging in a massive invasion of Ukraine.
The purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence.
The president believes that sanctions are intended to deter.
Moments later.
If sanctions cannot stop President Putin, what penalty can?
I didn't say sanctions couldn't stop him.
Today, with the president's comment that no one expected the sanctions to prevent anything from happening, moving forward, do you expect this slate of sanctions to prevent any further advancement or aggression from Russia?
Well, I would say that later in the back and forth or the press avail, he also said when asked if sanctions cannot stop President Putin, what penalty can? And he said, I didn't say sanctions couldn't stop him, which leads me to believe that's not exactly what he meant.
Flashback.
I didn't say sanctions couldn't stop him.
M of flashback.
That's not exactly what he meant.
They are profound sanctions. Let's have a conversation in another month or so to see if they're working.
Several months later.
Sir, deterrence didn't work. What makes you think Vladimir Putin will alter course based on the action you've taken today?
Let's get something straight. You remember, if you covered me from the very beginning, I did not say that, in fact, the sanctions would deter him. Sanctions never deter. You keep talking about that. Sanctions never deter. The maintenance of sanctions and the demonstration why I asked for this NATO meeting today is to be sure that after a month we will sustain what we're doing, not just next month, the following month, but for the remainder of this entire year. That's what will stop him. Maintenance of sanctions, the increasing the pain, that's what will stop him.
More moments later.
You believe the actions today will have an impact on making Russia change course in Ukraine?
That's not what I said. You're playing a game with me. I know. The answer is no. The words of a president matter, no matter how good or bad that president is.
If chemical weapons were used in Ukraine, would that trigger a military response from NATO?
It would trigger a response in kind. Whether or not you're asking whether NATO would cross, we'd make that decision at the time.
The term in kind means to do the same thing to someone that they have just done to you.
The words of a president matter, no matter how good or bad that president is.
The United States has no intention of using chemical weapons, period, under any circumstance.
And the words the president says matter.
One thing to a bird of the Navajo Nation. Let my wife come home. She likes the Navajo Nation too much. She keeps being out there. She's been out there for 2 days. She was out there before. I don't know. You know what I mean? I called her. I said, where are you? She said, I'm staying another day. So, let her come home, okay? I don't want her, that's too far for me to commute.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. There are multiple black women being considered. And you ain't black. The words of a president matter. Even a lousy president.